with our partner organizations, we are focused on this thing that we call our 2020 vision and the road to renewal. For we believe that life is there for the living. We want to make a difference in the world around. And the best way to change what is happening in our world is ourselves to be changed. So our focus is very much on changing ourselves, changing the way we work, improving ourselves wherever possible. Actually, the very act of having these conferences and having someone who leads an organization give these kinds of talks is really very, very unusual. Mostly, people expect in corporate organizations you'll talk about business, the success of the business, how it's achieving its key performance indicators and targets. But rarely, if ever, do organizations, and particularly those who run those organizations, focus on the people who are in those businesses. And think about the fact that it isn't only doing that is important, it's being. Who we are is really at the heart of how we do our work. And that is really the reason why we invest so much time and effort and labor and care into this idea of motivating and managing our people and engaging with them. And it is also why each year we not only have our business plan, which undergirds everything that we do in running what is really a very complex and sophisticated range of businesses, but we also ask the question, what kind of people are we? What do we need to look at? How do we put what we do in the context of real life? And that's why we have a theme each year. And our theme is each year is very much linked into this idea of making progress on the road to renewal. If you have a vision, if you have a sense of why you are doing what you are doing, you're not only more likely to achieve the objectives, but along the way, you're going to get a great deal of internal satisfaction. So our approach is about recognizing people, not as cogs in a machine or automatons, people who just do what they're meant to do. We want our people to do what they're meant to do. However, we want to live life. We want to enjoy the journey while we're here. Life is too short. It's too brief. Work is too important for it not to be something that is really satisfying. And so our theme this year, in 2013, is about regenerating and refreshing perspectives. And on your calendars, hopefully you've all got a calendar that I've created a little verse for each month. And if you haven't got one, please do ask before you leave. In January, I've just written this little verse which says, leave the past behind, see the future with new eyes, and change how you act in the present. Maximize your life's potential. And my brief talk here is one in which I just want to scatter out a number of seeds, and I hope that some or all of them will be of help to you as you think about, well, how can I maximize my life's potential? But firstly, when we think about these three words, regenerating, refreshing, and perspectives, what do we mean? Here are some working definitions. Firstly, regenerating is really about bringing back to life, about renewing, or about restoring to health. Refreshing is a very simple word, but it's good to think about what it means. It's about making fresh, bringing brightness to something, or reactivating a memory of something. And so it may be that all of these apply to our perspectives. And when we think of perspective, we think about something that's in the distance, an objective that we can see, or a vista or a view, the panorama, the horizon, what we're looking at. A perspective might be also how we evaluate something, and it could be the assessment of a situation. So we might say, just keep things in perspective, would you? And we want to say, well, what does that whole, the entirety of that situation look like? So all of these words help us to understand what perspectives are about, and we're saying, throughout this year, perhaps we can bring new life to, refresh, renew, restore, bring back to health the way we look at things. Here in this organization, a great example is about the way we look at work. We believe that work is far, far too important for us to not enjoy it, and that's why we invest so much in ensuring that people know what they're meant to do, that they are properly monitored, they're encouraged. We have a very strong approach towards training and developing people. And our work, because it is so much engaged with our communities, also brings us into contact with our residents. We heard earlier that we invest a great deal in having conferences here on a Saturday morning with residents, members of the public who could quite easily be shopping or staying in bed, choose to come here and have an amazing time as they engage with us on this vision. And I hope that this theme throughout this year, and perhaps some of the things I share with you in just these few moments, will be like having a really refreshing drink of water. This picture actually was taken in Ethiopia. Many of you will remember the talk I gave last year about a wonderful charity that is focused right across the world in trying to bring clean drinking water to people who don't have it. One of life's most basic requirements, and a very large proportion of the Earth's population don't have that supply. And I hope that throughout this year, the way we live our lives, the way we engage with life, will be such that each of us feels, I feel really refreshed. I feel regenerated. So I want to encourage you to start looking at the year ahead, not with anxiety, not with fear, not with trepidation, not with uncertainty, but with anticipation, saying this year can be just such a year of being refreshed and having the way I look at things regenerated, brought back to life. And I've got a dozen or so areas that you could think about. One of them is about my past. For so many of us, our past is like a corpse. We're chained to it. It's with us, around our ankles or around our neck, suffocating us in the present and destroying our hopes and dreams for the future. But I want to encourage you, as you look into 2013, to recognize that it's not where you start, it's where you finish that counts. So whatever has happened in the past, this is an opportunity. Can't wave a magic wand over the past, but there's a lot to be said for recognizing that the time comes when you need to turn the page for all that is in the past and begin to write a new chapter in your life. Another area in which we could regenerate and refresh our perspectives would be about how we value ourselves. So much happens to us, especially in our early years, in our childhood, that has the effect of making us feel that our value is less than it really is. And often we find when people come into the place of work, by the time they come there, they're so broken, we've got an enormous amount of work to do in order to enable them to be effective in the business that they run. Hopefully, in this organization, because of our focus on values like pride and family and passion and integrity and courage, as well as many others, we have been able to secure for all of our staff a sense of real value. Someone has said there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle. The very fact that you are here today, you could begin to start considering a miracle. We all know, I think, how dangerous childbirth is. The fact that we, each and every one of us, made it into the world could be seen as being a miracle. The fact that you are here today, however traumatic your life may have been, however difficult, however challenging, you could start by saying, I'm here. That's a miracle in itself. And that immediately begins to give you that sense of value that each and every one of us, I hope, should have. Which then could lead us to this very common British disease called complaining. Now, one of the essential requirements of people working in Luminous is that we don't complain. We don't mutter under our breath. We don't murmur. Now, just have a quick look at your colleagues around you. Don't worry, don't be embarrassed. Have a look at each other. Good look. All right, no claims for harassment or anything here. You're safe, Nigel, don't worry. And you can say, now some of you are sitting next to complete strangers, I know. But you could be saying, that person never complains, do they? Never complain. Have another look in the whites of their eyes. Never complain. There we go. Never complain. Mike Shellens, Brian Ward, Mike Simpson, Janet Boston. Sorry, I'm just calling out random names here. Because let's ask ourselves, are we that kind of person? Do we complain? Someone has said, when I hear somebody sigh, life is tough, then I say, compared to what? And that's very important. So the next time you feel that you want to complain about something, ask yourself, what is the alternative? So many people, not in this organization, I don't think, complain about their work. I won't bore you with or take up time with the number of stories I could tell about the many retail outlets I've been to where I've stopped at the cashier to ask them what it's like, and they've almost without exception said it's miserable. But here's an action you can take away. Just think for a minute of the thing that is the worst situation in your life at the moment. Just think, all right? Just engage with me here and now. Don't have a blank mind. Come on. I can hear what's going on here. Some of you say, no, I don't want to do this. What's going to come next? I'm not going to ask you to stand up and say anything, all right? You're thinking, if I've got a blank mind, I can't stand up and say anything. I won't ask you to do that. Just visualize it. What's the worst thing? What's the thing you're, I'll qualify it, most unhappy about, least satisfied with? Think it through. I want to invite you, when you leave this place, to create a list of all the things you like about that situation, all the things that are positive about the situation. So you might really dislike where you live or your neighborhood. Write down all the things that are good about your neighborhood. Okay, let's take something that's really close to home and near to the bone. Your husband or your wife. The things you constantly think about, all the things you really do not like about this person. Now, I want you to think about all the, not now, you can do it now if you like, but when you go home, write down a list of all the things that you think are really good about that person. And you'll find, in a short while, you'll find it's remarkable. They've changed. They're no longer as miserable or catty or whatever it was that they were. And you'll think, it's amazing. Chan told me to do that, and they've suddenly changed. You know what's changed? You've changed. Your perspective has changed. And you can apply that to almost anything. And start by saying, I'm really glad I'm alive. Which takes us then on to living. If you don't think every day is a good day, just try missing one. And that is why we encourage people. Every day we get up, say something good is going to happen to me today. Now, I don't want to trivialize the difficulties that we have in life, either in my earlier comment about complaining or about just getting out of bed every day. I have talked to people who have said to me, Chan, sometimes I get up and I'm actually disappointed it's another day because of the dire circumstances in which they live. I understand that. I sympathize with that situation. I'm not wanting to trivialize it. However, what we're trying to do, remember, in this year is to regenerate and refresh our perspectives. Because if we can get a healthier way of looking at life, we're much more likely to live our lives effectively. Not just positively, but effectively. And learning is a very, very important part of that. As an organization, we encourage everyone here to be a learning person. Someone has said that learning is not compulsory, but neither is survival. One of the most tragic aspects about people we meet sometimes is they give the impression that there's nothing more they can learn. But that is so sad. I want to continue to learn from all the things that I do well, as well as all the things I don't do well. I want to learn from my successes. I want to learn from my mistakes. And if every one of us can adopt and maintain that approach, then we will find that throughout life we will have a clearer and a better perspective. It will enable us, therefore, to respond to life situations and everything that our circumstances can throw at us in a better way. Someone has said that when something bad happens, you have three choices. You can let it define you, you can let it destroy you, or you can let it strengthen you. Throughout the year that has just gone, as I think about so many of you, because I know you fairly well, I know about the circumstances you had to endure, some of your very difficult personal and domestic situations. In this organization, because we are a caring organization, because we genuinely want to support people, our HR business team keeps me informed on a daily basis of the troubles and woes that are going on in people's lives. Now, no doubt management consultants would say And people with 3 MBAs would say, no, that's not what a chief executive should be doing. They should be concentrating on the bottom line and value for money and business process re-engineering and restructuring. Well, yeah, I concentrate on all of those, of course. However, I want to know what's going on in the beating heart of our people, so that if our people suffer, we suffer with them. If they rejoice, we rejoice with them. And as a consequence, I'm aware that it has been a difficult year for some of you, but I want to pay tribute to you for the marvelous way in which you have kept things together and the way in which all of you, as a group of people, have supported one another. And I was very touched by the fact that you all took the time to create a giant Christmas card for me and present it to me. A big surprise, of course, at the last conference. But it's entirely up to us. Are we going to let our circumstances define us, destroy us, or strengthen us? Which really then takes us on to how we ought to move on from this. And it's all about making decisions. Too many people live with inertia in their lives. They don't move on. They choose never to cut that corpse of experience, past experience, loose from them. And they live forever in the past. I believe it's important always to take action and to make a decision to take action. And someone has said that decision is the spark that ignites action. Until a decision is made, nothing happens. And that is why in our Luminous Conference folders, we encourage our people at each of these conferences to say, as a result of this conference and what's been said, I'm going to do something differently or do something anew. Make a decision today that something is going to change. One of the most important that we can make in life, and this may or may not apply to you, but it may apply to some of us, and I've given a talk on this, which I know you appreciated previously, is about forgiving. Virtually everyone, I would say, in life has been wronged by someone or the other. And it's a great gift to be able to say in your heart, even if you never can say it to someone else, perhaps because they're no longer here, you're no longer in touch with them, say, I just want to forgive that person. I want to let that thing go from my life. Someone once said that the person who cannot forgive others breaks the very bridge over which they themselves must pass. So whatever has gone on in our lives, whatever the past has been about, one way to regenerate and to refresh our perspectives is to say, I'm just going to let it go. And forgiveness means, really, you cancel that debt out. So whatever has happened, it's gone forever. And you'll feel completely free as a result of it, and able then to place a real value on the things that matter. As someone has said, enjoy the little things in life, because one day you'll look back and realize they were the big things, whatever those little things are. That's why in our organization, although we absolutely concentrate on delivering a first-class business, a premium brand business, we also encourage people to live their lives to the full, to make the most of all aspects of your life so that you can be a fully rounded human being. And we try to help our people as best we can. That's why I mentioned the highs and the lows of life, so that you can enjoy the little things as well. And 4 verbs in this connection to bear in mind. One is about risk. Risk more than others think is safe. Care more than others think is wise. Dream more than others think is practical. And expect more than others think is possible. That's why I think we are off the scale for any measurement to accredit us now. Because as a business, as an organization, as a movement, as a body of people, we've moved beyond what a best company might look like. We're continuing to invest in our people. However, our expectations of ourselves are far, far greater than any other organization around, actually. We very much believe that what we're doing is making a change and a difference in people's lives, such that our fingerprints, we believe, won't fade from the lives of the people we've touched. And we know that. We know the thousands of people in and around these communities who tell us, because they write to me, they email, they stop me in the street, that as a result of what you have done, you've made a real difference in their lives. So, and with this I come to a conclusion. As we go forward into 2013, let's leave the past behind. Let's see the future with new eyes and change how we act in the present. Let's maximize our life's potential. Let's work towards regenerating and refreshing our perspectives. And this very common, but well-known symbol in Luminous, let's come across the bridge. There are many bridges in life for us. Whichever one it is for you today, I invite you to come right across it and to focus on our 2020 vision and making progress along the road to renewal. Can we do it? Yes, sir. I believe we can. Thank you very much.